Hi, and welcome to the McKnight Report. I'm Wanda McKnight, and today we are here with the Most of Body by Most Fitness Solutions. Hi, Most.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. Most is going to talk with us about fitness, about losing weight, and most importantly, about some common myths associated with working out, losing weight, and just getting fit in general. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Don't say that. You know
left-handed people are a little bit more creative. I'm going to say nothing.
Left-handed people are smart.
They are.
Dad, do you want to get the phone?
No.
Every year, 1 million families face losing their homes to foreclosure. If you're ignoring your mortgage issues, things will only get worse. Call 1-888-995-HOPE because nothing is worse than doing nothing.
Hi, we're back, and we're here with Most Ray. Hi, Most.
Hi.
Tell us about being a fitness professional. What is that all about?
Well, being a fitness professional involves teaching people about fitness, how to keep themselves in shape, feeling well, and also doing it in the most efficient manner as possible. In other words, if there's 168 hours in a week, you would like to be able to maybe devote 4 to 5 hours a week to yourself for just keeping yourself physically able to maintain your lifestyle and try to eat properly, you know, just things that make life easier. Okay. That's what it's about. It's about life.
Now, is that just a bunch of exercise? I mean, what goes into trying to get fit?
Well, it's a combination of things. Like a lot of people will try, let's say there's one aspect of fitness. Now there's 3 aspects of fitness. There's resistance training, which a lot of people call weightlifting, but it doesn't always involve weight.
Is that like the bands too? Sometimes they have those exercise
balls.
bands.
I mean, you can use body weight, which is called plyometrics, or you can use machines that are designed to increase resistance, which allows for you to become stronger, which in turn will allow for day-to-day operations to become easier for you.
Like lifting children or?
Lifting children, reaching up into your cabinets, carrying things upstairs without being winded,
okay.
Being able to push your lawnmower,
okay.
You know, things like that.
Sure.
Also, another aspect of it is your cardiovascular fitness,
okay.
Which means allowing for your body to become more efficient, your heart and your lungs and all of your veins and arteries. You want them to be able to carry oxygen efficiently so your heart does not have to work as hard in order to get that done.
I see.
And then finally, there's the nutritional side. That's where, as we're going to talk about later, a lot of myths fall into people's heads as far as how I should eat, what I should eat, so on and so forth. But if you can learn about all 3 aspects of it, then what will happen is you'll be able to efficiently and effectively get yourself into shape and also understand what's happening if, let's say, something isn't quite operating the way you would like.
Okay. Now, you do personal training, is that right?
I do personal training, I do group fitness, I do Biggest Loser competitions, I do gym design,
okay.
You know, and I also do like online consulting.
Now, who needs a personal trainer? Is that something that only those expensive athletes need, or someone who's getting ready to do some competition, or who could use a personal trainer?
Actually, anyone who wants a crash course in fitness should try to get themselves some sort of fitness professional to work with them because, like I said earlier, it's about effectiveness and efficiency. So you can try to do it yourself, but you'd have to do a lot of reading, you have to sift through a lot of garbage because a lot of the things that you see out there that supposedly get you in shape are actually there to try to sell you some sort of device which you're going to end up hanging clothes on anyway. So
you've been to my house.
Well, but I mean, it's a fairly common thing to see treadmills with clothes hanging on them, bicycles, trampolines, little twisty things, and and I mean, you know what, I'm not going to name names, but I'll put
Okay,
it this
thank you.
way.
Whew.
20 minutes a day, 3 days a week is not going to allow for you to look like the person you saw in the commercial.
Okay.
You're
okay.
going to have to do a lot more. They probably didn't see that machine till the day they showed up, got their little pump on, put on some oil, and said, let's go. So, I mean, that's the thing. You have to have some way to discern what's true from what's the truth.
And a good way to do that.
From untruth to truth.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
and a good way to do that is to go ahead and get a personal trainer, a fitness professional to work with us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But now, suppose we can't afford a personal trainer, or maybe that's not in the budget right now. Are there other solutions that we could do?
Well, the other side of it is to try to use some of the shows that you might be able to get off of your DVR, depending on what network you're with. But for the most part, anything that you really want, it seems like people can find a way to make it happen.
I see.
And I mean, obviously there's different levels of trainers as far as costs and so on, but there's also, like I said, group classes. And I mean, the same way you might put aside X amount of dollars to get your hair done, your nails done, your car detailed, usually that same amount of money could be put towards employing someone to help you to be more efficient. Because the thing that I always tell my clients is, if you stay with me for 3 months, the education you'll receive should allow for you to not only continue on without me, but also be able to help other people in your life.
Okay.
So I mean, the same way people say, well, that's a lot of money. It's an investment.
Sure.
Just like you pay to go to college, you pay to get knowledge, and when you have this knowledge, it's yours forever. So you should be able to use it for the rest of your life.
Now, is there an optimum time in our lives to do that? For example, if we are in our 30s or 40s or even 50s and 60s, is it too late for us to try to get a trainer and start working out?
No, and one of the things that I have noticed is that the people who maybe were more physical or more athletic in their younger days, they tend to have more of the joint issues and things that that have to be worked around. This doesn't mean you don't work out, but like somebody who maybe played basketball, you know, through college or whatever, they may have some sort of knee issue. A lot of times people who have never done anything actually have the healthiest structure. They may be carrying a little more on that structure than they need to, but the whole point being that no, there's no optimal age. I mean, you should start being physical. I mean, to me, people have asked me about training children.
Okay.
I said, for me, children will train themselves. Just let them go out and have fun. Take them from in front of the televisions and the PlayStations and the Wiis and all of that. And they, you know, people try to say, oh, they're physical. But most people don't use the physical aspect on a Wii. They're going to push the buttons.
Okay.
See, so to me, if you can stay active, find something you like to do. It could be bowling. You could take tennis lessons. You could, like I like racquetball. You could try skiing, snowboard. I mean, it's kind of up to you. But the thing is, I mean, there's kickball leagues for grown folks. They play under the lights.
Wow.
At Watkins Park. You know what I mean? There's indoor soccer leagues right over at Greenbelt Soccerplex. I mean, if you want to be physical, that's a good thing to do, is get out there and find some sort of activity, because then the training, you get to see it in action.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? As
Sure.
opposed to training in a vacuum, which is very difficult. It's hard to train for no reason.
Now, you also talked about group fitness activities or group training. Tell us about that, and specifically, I keep hearing a lot about boot camps. Everybody's talking about joining boot camps. Tell us about that.
Well, I would say that group training is where you take, usually it's a group of, I mean, well, it can be either or. A group of friends that decide they want to chip in together and work out together. That works really well. I have groups like that, as well as you can have groups where, let's say a trainer says, well, I'm going to be training on, like for instance, I have a class on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:30. We take up to 6 people at a time. Usually we have about 4 to 5.
So wait a minute, sometimes people can actually just get a group together and start working out and hire a trainer?
Yeah, it tends to work out a lot more economically for you, because normally you can get it to a price point where it's between $20 to $40 per person, depending on the size of the group. And it also tends to breed more compliance because you don't want to let the other people down by saying you don't feel like coming that day.
Okay, I see what you're saying. And now also we talked about boot camps. Explain that. Everybody's talking about being in a boot camp.
Well, boot camps most of the time are outdoors.
Okay.
Usually the group is, I would say, at least 10 people. And they get together, you pay a flat monthly fee, and you're taken through exercises, and usually by a central instructor. If it's a large group, sometimes it'll be 2 or 3 instructors. The pros of it are it's usually pretty economical, and the cons of it is there's no real personal attention that can be paid. I mean, if you have a situation where you can't do something, a lot of times in a group situation it can be modified. In a boot camp situation, you have to know to modify at that point.
I see. So why do they call it boot camp? It just has pictures in my mind of people running around outside, left, right, left. I mean, why do they call it boot
Well,
camp?
initially it did start out like that because people got in shape in boot camp. So it's kind of like a boot camp for people to get in shape as opposed to a boot camp for them to be in an armed, in the armed services, something like that,
So are they doing more of the calisthenics, the jumping jacks, to really?
Well,
that
yeah,
kind of
most
stuff?
of the time you do. There's usually some running involved, plyometrics, which is, using your own body weight.
Push-ups.
Calisthenic, yeah, push-ups, dips, crunches.
Okay.
Things
Okay.
like that. They can work really well for people, but some people are a little more, let's say, have a little more trouble with weather conditions and things of
see.
that nature, so they prefer more of an indoor situation. And there are indoor boot camps. They
Okay.
usually cost a little more, though.
Okay. Well, when we come back, we'll talk about some fitness myths that are out there and see if we can't get to the bottom of it.
All right.
Tick, 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 tick. Massive heat waves. Heat waves. Tick. Severe droughts. Tick, 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 tick. Devastating hurricanes. Tick, 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 tick.
Our future is up to you.
Tick.
Go to fightglobalwarming.com while there's still time.
I'm a single mother of 2 kids. I work a lot. I come home tired. We do miss a lot. He dropped off for a whole month. Sometimes I would talk to him and he wouldn't even turn around and look at me. I would just get frustrated because in any way that I talk to him, it just doesn't go through his head. I didn't give up because there's always hope that they'll snap out of it.
Give your teen the boost they need to graduate. Call 1-877-4A-KID or join us at boostup.org for tips and advice.